All right, this is the slides to kind of introduce the idea of manifest destiny. You're going to want to use this to fill in your notes and color them up because we have kind of a jigsaw puzzle here that we want to see in terms of land acquisitions by the United States of America, really over about a 40 to 50 year period that we're talking about. So the term manifest destiny really was the belief that the United States was destined. They had the God-given right to really move and take our culture and stretch it from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean. And the big piece here is that divine piece that we had the divine right, that we were blessed by God in order to do this, and that can pose some issues in terms of the types of things that happen and who these land acquisitions affected. So just a little something to think about. As we move forward, we'll take a look at the Treaty of Paris in 1783. This would be the first landholding that the United States got following the American Revolution. And as part of the agreement in the Treaty of Paris, the United States got all the land east of the Mississippi River, with the exclusion of the state of Florida and a couple little spots there in the northern parts. So again, part of that treaty, we see that the sovereignty of the United States was recognized along with its independence, and we see that the boundaries are there that give us an idea of what the United States controlled in 1783. The next one is the Louisiana Purchase. What we have here is Thomas Jefferson attempted to buy New Orleans, a very important port at the mouth of the Mississippi River, which is extremely important for connecting the mid areas of the United States to the rest of the world, essentially, as well as the East Coast. But because of some of the issues that Napoleon was having with the Haitian Revolution and the war that he was continually fighting in Europe, he didn't really see a need to hang on to the land that France had claimed. So the result of that is that Thomas Jefferson was able to buy this land for about $15 million, arguably one of the greatest real estate buys of all time. And what this essentially does is doubles the size of the United States. Next, we have the Convention of 1818, and really the big piece here that we have to take note of is the 49th parallel. This becomes really an important northern boundary for the United States, and the 49th parallel will come up again a little bit later on. The United States does cede a little land to Great Britain just north of the 49th parallel, but the United States gains control of an area known as the Red River Basin in 1818 as part of the Convention of 1818. The next one is the Adams-Onus Treaty, and what we have here is the establishment of we're gaining control of Spanish Florida. Spain, because of some of the issues that were happening between or over the border of the southern states into Florida, things like Native Americans raiding some of the farms in states like Georgia, as well as some slaves running away into Florida and kind of embedding themselves into the native communities in Florida. These issues led to some actions by Andrew Jackson ultimately to gain control of Florida. Following the Adams-Onus Treaty of 1819, Spain cedes Florida to the United States. There's some money exchanged, and what this does is Spain makes sure it hangs on to its claim of parts of Texas, but also gives up its claim to any of the Oregon Territory. 1842, we see just a little strip of land there in the Webster Ashburton Treaty with Great Britain. It sets the boundary of Maine and Lake Superior, so we get a little bit of Minnesota as well as the tip of Maine as part of the Webster Ashburton Treaty. Next up is the Texas annexation. What we see here is that in 1836, Texas declares its independence from Mexico. This leads to some issues between the United States and Mexico, or the Texans and Mexico, that will eventually come up later on in the Mexican-American War. But eventually in 1845, following Texas's independence and essentially a republic in and of itself, they joined the United States in about 1845 to become the 28th state in the United States. Next, we have the Oregon Territory, and this is by this slogan that James K. Polk ran for president under: a 54-40 or fight. And what we see here is that he didn't end up fighting. Like any good politician, he kind of overstated and overpromised what he was running on. And with the Oregon Treaty, we see that the 49th parallel comes into play again, and the land is divided. North of the 49th parallel, Great Britain controls it. It becomes now British Columbia, Canada. And then below the 49th parallel, we see the Oregon Territory is controlled by the United States. That would include areas like Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. Then we have the Mexican Cession of 1848. This is a result of some of the animosity that happened during the Texas Revolution. But the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, ultimately Mexico cedes an enormous portion of its land to the United States in what is now really the American Southwest. And there is, again, some money transferred over. The United States did pay Mexico a portion of money in order for the United States to gain control of those, with invariably some bloodshed. So there we have the Mexican Cession of 1848. Then the last little piece is known as the Gadsden Purchase in 1853. Basically, the United States pays Mexico about $10 million for this strip of land. And the reason why is that it's a little bit flatter in that area. It's very deserty down there. But this allows for a southern transcontinental railroad that's going to connect the southeast to the southwest. So there we have all the different pieces that come to make up the lower 48 states. The United States continues to expand beyond this, but this is really that time that is known as the time of manifest destiny and American expansion, really in about a 40 to 50 year period in United States history.